Hi, and welcome to Good Deeds Real Estate with a Mission. I'm Diane Davidson of the Fine Homes Group at Keller Williams, and this is Bill Weidecker of same.
Correct.
Okay,
Doing
anyways.
very well.
So I guess if anybody's interested in any candidate signs, they're abundant on most corners. Go out and help yourself. The candidates have left, but the signs have not. So we have our state back. That's a good thing, I guess.
Yeah, I always find it funny that the signs don't go with the candidates to the next place because they don't say
'Cause they're already
Nikki
there.
Haley, New Hampshire. They
They're already
just
there.
right. Well,
You don't think they're waiting to drive down to South Carolina, right?
I don't know. I wish they would.
You know, big waste.
Yeah.
No recycling. Don't get me started on that.
Especially
Okay, all right.
you.
Especially
Yeah.
me. Okay, all that plastic. So we were having a discussion in one of our one of our coaching groups the other morning, and I thought it would be interesting to speak to civilians about it. And that's kind of the perception that we might have about the market and sort of the what you're hearing, the buzz you're hearing, versus some numbers that have come out comparing this year to last year, as it seems pretty encouraging for both buyers and sellers. So, do you want to hit on that?
Sure. And what happens is the consumers are always they hear it from us, so they hear it after it's actually happened. They're a little bit behind in terms of the delivery of the message, and that's on us. And we really come to know these things through doing the research.
Right.
So through the first, basically 3.5 weeks of the year, here's what we know. We track new listings in the entire state. And so new listings coming on the market from January 1st through, I ran this through the 22nd of January. Got to cut it off somewhere. And what we realized is new listings are 10% ahead over last year.
Can you give us some numbers?
Oops,
sorry.
It's okay.
Okay.
I had the number, but I don't have it on.
Okay.
I'm good.
I think it was 7 something and it's 8 something.
Yeah,
Is that close enough? Yeah.
It's 10% more listings.
Yeah.
And so you're right, it's probably somewhere around 70, 80 listings more. But the bottom line is 10% is a big number.
Yes.
We'll see how that holds. But usually in January, to be this far ahead so far, I think is a good sign because people that are going to list their homes usually say, well, I'll wait until April or May. And we'll talk about seasonality coming up here. But the bottom line is we're 10% ahead over last year already.
Okay.
I also track pending sales, which are under contract, continue to show, and actually pending. And those two categories have us 18.5% ahead. So call it 20, just for that's an even bigger number.
Correct.
So that tells me a lot. It tells me, number one, the buyer traffic, the foot traffic out there is still very, very good. And that in part has to do with the fact that interest rates have eased a little bit in anticipation. I think the mortgage market is sort of anticipating that the Fed is going to either reduce rates a little or hold tight and not raise them.
Not go up, yeah, for sure, yeah.
So that's good news for sellers and for buyers. When you think, how can a market be good for sellers and for buyers at the same time? This is it, because interest rates have come down over where they were a year ago, and we're finally starting to see a little bit of what I'm hoping will be a return to normalcy in the market, because we've had since COVID. We're coming on March of this year. It'll be 4 years,
Right.
if we can believe that.
Call it the 5th season, right? There
Yeah.
used to be seasonality, and there was the season of COVID.
Yeah, the spring market was a 3-year market.
3 years long, yeah. Yep. So you mentioned, seasonality. Oh, good segue.
Yes, indeed.
What do you want to say about that?
Well, there used to be a very, especially in New England, there was this, we will put our home on the market in the spring. And so there was the spring market, and then there was this early fall market, right, as well, where more listings came on the market in those two seasons, and sales would typically follow. Because of the pandemic and the inventory shortage, it really didn't matter. You could put your property on the market at any time. Here's what we knew in the industry. It really didn't matter ever anyway, because the buyers that needed to buy weren't focusing on the season that they were
Correct.
in. You never really had people that would say, well, we're going to wait till spring to buy. They might say, we'll wait till spring to sell. Here's the other part of it. Seasonality was kind of a fool's errand, because if everybody puts their property on the market in the spring, you're competing as a seller with more property.
Right.
And so what we're seeing now is, I think the market is returning a little bit more to normal, but meaning there might be more listings coming on. But here's what I think is, because the winter's been so mild.
No interruptions.
Yeah, we've always found, at least in New Hampshire, that if the roads are clear and the sun is out, even if there's snow on the ground, buyers are willing to buy, because they can get in their cars and drive to the open
Right.
houses and drive into neighborhoods that they may want to look for sale signs.
Yep, same as the Boston market.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, even when people couldn't drive, it became a little recreational to walk around your neighborhood, put your car in a garage for however long, and go to open houses in the neighborhood. So it's as long as people can get around, which some way, they're going to go see properties.
Sure.
And barring a debilitating blizzard, it's a great time to look and buy, and people do, and will. And the fact that there's more on the market now, is more listings at the beginning of this, or the first 3 weeks of this month, is very encouraging for buyers.
Yeah. And, I bumped into somebody at the supermarket. They still call it that?
You do.
Yeah, I do. I bumped into somebody at the grocery store.
I had my pocketbook with me that day. I think. My dungarees on.
God. So anyway, I bumped into somebody out in public,
Yes.
and not Publix,
Publix, no.
but out in public, and they said, "This is the year." And I do think that that's going to be the case for a lot of people that held off in the last couple of years. They're not putting their life on hold forever.
Yep,
And we're seeing that
Agree.
more and more.
I agree. Well, thank you as always for your insights, and thank you for sticking with us. Be sure to follow us on your favorite podcast platform or subscribe to our YouTube channel.